Never mind Flower of Scotland. We're the power of Scotland. Must be Napier. Full of grit, guts, graft and gumption. Napier. You've met us already. Here. There. Doing this and that. Not that. Napier. The beating heart of Scotland. Nah, scratch that. The world. Truth be told, there's a bit of Napier in all of us.
Welcome to our annual University Update. Another year of making a difference. I'm June Boyle, Chair of Court at Edinburgh Napier University, and it's a pleasure to welcome you to this event, whether you're joining us live right now or you're watching or listening to the recording. For those of you joining us live, we're keen to make sure this is interactive, so please place any questions that you have in the chat function. We'll pick them up, and through a live Q&A at the end of this event, when members of the university leadership team will be on hand to answer those questions. For those of you not familiar with the governance structure of the university court, the governing body is kind of akin to a board of directors or a charity trustee. The governing board consists of a combination of independent lay court members, staff, students, trade union representatives, the Chancellor's assessor, the principal and the leadership team. So we're quite a crew. It's our responsibility to guide Edinburgh Napier's strategy and direction, including the ongoing sustainability of the institution. This year we normally do this every 3 years, a governance effectives review which is done independently. It was led by David Langley of Advance HE. And the feedback overall was that we found evidence of good, effective governance with some real significant strengths. The operational foundations of effective governance are in place, the structures, the systems and the processes, and enacted to enable governance to be practiced effectively. We found evidence of rigorous review against compliance and for continuous improvement, all very important. The commitment of all parties involved in the governance and leadership of the university to the Edinburgh Napier University mission and ambition is evident and strong, which validates and reaffirms our link to the strategy. The relevant KPIs and reporting cycles ensure the court has the high-level oversight of performance. We also have identified some ongoing recommendations that we are working on right now to do our own continuous improvement. This has been another year of challenge and uncertainty across the Scottish HE sector on many fronts, and there's more to come. Despite this challenging environment, including the global geopolitical context and cost of living concerns, we continue to make tremendous strides in terms of being resourceful and resilient as an organisation that has achieved another year of performance and making a difference to the lives of the students and their careers, both domestically and internationally. We were able to hold steady on Scotland's #1 modern university and the #1 university in Edinburgh for student satisfaction. It's tremendous that we're doing this on a sustainable basis. The past year contained many highlights related to the strategic goals of the university, which the Principal will be presenting to you shortly, including sharing many awards and recognitions that are being achieved across Napier, which is further acknowledgement to the difference and impact that the university continues to make. We successfully graduated 4,800 students in Edinburgh and over 1,000 internationally, a remarkable group of individuals who showed commitment and resilience in the context of ongoing disruption to their learning. We were named the 2020 People and Planet University League's top university in Scotland for environmental sustainability and ethics for the second year in a row. I'd invite some of you also, if you get a moment, to take a chance to look at the 2022-23 mainstreaming report, which is the university's statement around equality, diversity and inclusion. And it sets out the activities that are being undertaken and the update and progress that's being made. There's much to be positive about around the university. It sets about tackling elimination of unlawful discrimination, addressing equality opportunities, and fostering good relations amongst the community. The recent Your Voice survey internally further positively reinforces the work the university has undertaken in terms of its equality outcomes over 21-25. As we continue to grapple with the post-pandemic reality, we have a great team that makes up Napier and what it is. On behalf of Court, we really appreciate all the hard work, the progress and the achievements, despite the challenges, and want to say thank you for all the commitment and continued efforts that everyone is contributing to support the university make such a difference to the students and the Napier experience. And now, to take us on a tour of all that we're doing in terms of the university and many of its achievements in the last year, and share some of the short and the longer term plans that are progressing, I'm delighted that I'm going to introduce Edinburgh Napier's Principal and Vice-Chancellor, Andrea Nolan.
Thank you, June. Well, it gives me great pleasure to welcome all of you alongside that of June's welcome to this short session where I hope to give you a flavour and a taster of some of the amazing work of our staff and students. For those of you who are perhaps not so familiar with Edinburgh Napier University, let me introduce it to you. So our community comprises about 21,000 students and they come from 140 countries. Most of those students, 70%, are in Edinburgh, and we have about 27% who are either studying online or are studying with partners overseas. 70%, just over, are full-time. We have got a 1/3, 2/3 split between postgraduate students and undergraduate. And perhaps you may be surprising to you that 56% of our students are classified as mature. Overall, 42% of our student population is international, 31% international here in Edinburgh. So a very diverse student community. We have grown quite considerably our staffing base recently, and now we have just under 2,000 staff. 48% of those are academic, 75% are full-time, and a slight majority of women, 56% women. We have 14% of our staff are from Black, Asian, minority ethnic background, 24% of our staff are international, and 9% of our staff have a declared disability. We have a broad discipline base, which is gathered, if you like, or presented externally as 5 academic schools. So our School of Applied Sciences embraces the social sciences, psychology, as well as the biomedicine and conservation and harder sciences. The Arts and Creative Industries School, we have a large School of Business, a School of Computing, Engineering and the Built Environment, and a large School of Health and Social Care. And the work of all those schools is supported through a range of professional services. And we're mostly located on 3 campuses here in Edinburgh, at Craiglockhart, at Mercaston and at Sighthill. Now, our decisions over the last probably 3 years since we agreed our most recent strategy, Driving Distinctiveness, in 2020, have all been guided by our 4 strategic goals, underpinned by our purpose. And our purpose has really been quite consistent over the last 10 years, I would say, which is about delivering high quality education and research to add value to the social, cultural and economic capital of our communities, and through our thought leadership to shape their development. We have 4 strategic objectives. The first is around building careers to create opportunities for all the people we come into contact with. We want to grow our network so as we can connect communities. We want to advance knowledge that delivers impact, and all the time being sustainably committed to growing sustainably. And I'd like to look at each of those in sequence just to give you a flavour of some of the work that we're doing under those headings. So firstly, building careers. Well, I think it's worth noting that 79% of our graduates were in managerial or professional jobs 15 months after they graduated. The most recent cohort is 2020-21. And 97% of all our graduates were in employment or education. And we like to consider ourselves that we can attract students from a wide variety of backgrounds, and 13% of our students come from SIMD 20 postcodes, that is the Scottish Index of Multiple Deprivation. An institution, if you like, an organisation that we host, Edinburgh Napier University, is the Hub for Success. Now, it was established in 2018 And it was established in order to help those with care experience to get in, stay in, and return to education. And it's a salutary lesson, certainly back in 2018, to note that at that time, only about 5 to 6% of care experienced individuals went into higher education, when you compare to about 40% of school leavers. So a real issue for us to tackle. And so we set up in partnership with the other 3 universities in Edinburgh and with Edinburgh College and Newbattle College, and in partnership with Edinburgh City Council, the Hub for Success. We had a high-level impact report conducted just this year, which showed that we had already given one-to-one support to 430 care experienced students. And of those, 207 of them had entered education, 73 into university and 134 into college. Now, they may not sound like enormous numbers, but when you think that only 5% were accessing higher education, I think the Hub has done an amazing amount of good work. And they've expanded their reach through their Learner Explorers programme, speaking to hundreds of children across the region to inspire them and to raise their knowledge and aspiration of the potential of education. Some award-winning innovation. We've had a slew of awards and wins at industry awards, and I just thought I'd highlight some of them. Up on the top left-hand corner, we have a photo of Nanak Ramchandran, who, along with Zakwan Jarushe, won the Converge Challenge Award, which awards entrepreneurship and innovation, won an award for their cyber spin-out called Lasting Asset. Up on the top right, we have a picture of Anne Moylan, a lecturer in our School of Health and Social Care, who won the Praxis Oral Knowledge Exchange Award, Place-Based Knowledge Exchange Initiative of the Year, for a partnership she has led in association with a charity in Vietnam. And together their work on neonatal nursing and healthcare has made a significant difference in reducing infant mortality. Below those, the 3 people, we see one of our lecturers, Gary Kerr, with 2 students who won awards at the E-Awards in Scotland, which showcases excellence in Scottish events and festivals. And to the right, we have Richard Whitecross, Professor Richard Whitecross, who's head of our School of Law, who was awarded a very distinguished and prestigious National Teaching Fellowship as part of about 50 awarded across the whole of the United Kingdom. And that was awarded for his innovation in teaching and learning. We have celebrated 45 years of journalism, which is absolutely fantastic. And we have teamed up with John Schofield Trust, which works to diversify journalism and to attract more people from diverse backgrounds into it. We have just launched, are just about to launch, a new pathway college. And we're doing that in partnership with Oxford International Education Group. So in January, we will welcome new international students to undertake a foundation programme into both undergraduate and postgraduate programmes in our university. And on the right-hand side, you can see a photograph of Leslie Ingram Skills, who is a lecturer in our School of Applied Sciences. Leslie is a former World Cup cross-country mountain bike racer and a lecturer in sport and exercise science and health. And I'm not going to say much about the mountain bike centre, which we are just got planning permission in the Borders in Innerleithen to really make that a reality, because Leslie's going to talk to you shortly about mountain bike innovation and growing the products for that industry. Let me move on to making a difference in growing our networks. So important when you think of the challenges we're all facing across the world. Connecting communities is the way we're going to solve them, and also increase understanding of each other's contexts. And I'd like to pull out 2 that have really helped us this year grow our networks. And one is Eureka. So it's an association of 7 European universities. We were a founding partner in 2016. And just this year, we were selected by the European Commission to be a European Network Alliance. And that means that the 7 universities will be coming together, funded by the European Union to focus on developing climate neutral cities and smart cities. So a really, really helpful alliance for us, for all our staff and students. And we were awarded, our business school was awarded AACSB accreditation this year, which means that we are now one of 6% of institutions around the world that has this accreditation, and they are institutions that offer business programs. So a very distinguished award for our business school. We have really been involved in a world-leading collaboration. Again, the importance of networks to delivering impact for our communities. So Edinburgh Napier has played a part in developing the UK's first autonomous bus service, which was launched in May 2023. Some of you may have been on it. So CAVForth is a collaborative and world-leading project to try and improve how we travel around the cities and around our regions in years to come, and with a focus on improving safety and reducing energy consumption. And in the photograph there, we have Professor Achille Fonzoni and Lucy Downey, and you're going to hear more about that project in a few minutes' time. Networks for Impact. Very proud of our Breaking Barriers programme, which is a programme in association with Enable and with an EY. It enables young people with a learning disability and additional support needs to access education and achieve an accredited qualification and gain work experience with one of Scotland's highest profile corporate employers. So a fantastic new programme which we launched last year. This one is close to my heart, which is primary 7. So our music students and a couple of our staff engaged with primary 7 students in Eklund Primary School in order to write a school song, because as they were moving on to secondary school, they thought it would be a lovely legacy for the school for the future. And I do want to mention our twinning with Lutsk National Technical University, which is based in Ukraine. This year we had funded our first visit of the rector of the university, some staff and students to come over and visit us to talk about things that are helping us and supporting the university in a time of intense crisis in the country. How are we advancing knowledge to deliver impact? Well, we added 6 new research centres to our current 7 research centres, so we now have 13 research centres across the university. And something maybe a little known fact that I'd like you to pick up on is that our bright red triangle supported 150 plus startups. An amazing consideration when you think about that for the size of the universities we are. On the left-hand side, we have a Smart Cities research group featured. In the centre there, we have Professor Luca Mora, who's the Professor of Urban Innovation, and we're going to hear more about him in the interview after I finish this presentation to you. In the middle, we have a picture of Professor Thanos Karatsias, who is working on assessing the prevalence of complex post-traumatic stress disorder in an active war zone. And the preliminary data of that work suggests that there's at least over 40% of people he's studying the conditions in Ukraine are suffering from complex post-traumatic stress disorder. Hugely important work. And on the right, you'll see what is effectively a bamboo timber composite grid shell. And amazingly, our students, a team of Edinburgh Napier students, completed this world-first construction project in association with students from a partner institution, Guangxi University of Science and Technology, which is based in southwest China, and also with students from Inner Mongolia University of Science and Technology. Amazing to think that's what our students have done for a month and created a hugely innovative new product. We host CIPER, which is the Scottish Institution for Policing Research, and it's another collaboration between Police Scotland, the Scottish Police Authority, and 15 Scottish universities, and which was established to carry out independent research and to make evidence-based contributions to policing policy and practice. In the middle, you can see just a reminder of sustainable housing. We have a very strong timber group here, and Timber Development UK entered a new partnership with Edinburgh Napier and the New Model Institute for Technology and Engineering, which is based in Herefordshire, with the aim of improving skills in timber design and construction. And we know that timber is a much more sustainable product for building, for construction, than, for example, concrete. And our Centre for Cardiovascular Health goes from strength to strength. They launched pioneering rehabilitation for an emergency heart condition, spontaneous coronary artery dissection, or SCAD, which predominantly affects otherwise healthy women in their 40s and 50s. And as a result of their work and their advocacy, the first Scottish SCAD clinic opened in Forth Valley just a couple of months ago. And perhaps one that is one of my favourite, making a difference in the impact that we have, the local and impact that we have, is Edinburgh Napier is leading a project with Scottish West Coast communities and organisations to identify herring spawning habitats and to help conserve them, because the herring population had dropped dramatically in recent years on the west coast of Scotland, led by Karen Deal and Michelle Frost. Now, up on the top left corner there, you can see some proof that herring shoals are finally beginning to come back to the Scottish west coast. What they do is they lay thick carpets of millions of white eggs on the seafloor, which apparently is very unusual for a marine fish. And they love to spawn on beds of red coralline algae, but these habitats are often damaged through scallop dredging, over-dredging. The beauty of this is the WASH project uses citizen science to help discover the location of herring spawning beds, while sharing with the public the importance of conserving this habitat for biodiversity. And a colleague, Simon Wells, and PhD student Lewis Watson have helped build a web app for reporting of herring and predator sightings by the public. So a great example of a network that goes way beyond the academic to involve our local populations. And to making a difference growing sustainably. Well, this year we reduced our total carbon emissions by 27%. We are now down at 4,671 total carbon tonnes emissions against a target of 5,000, so we over-delivered. And I think June already mentioned that we're the #1 university in Scotland for the second year in a row for environmental sustainability and ethics. This is a garden that's in the heart of one of our campuses, which many of you may or may not know about, the Lions Gate Garden. It's a regenerative garden laboratory, and this year it accomplished a Thriving Award from Keep Scotland Beautiful. Professor Mark Hudson is behind a new collection of guides to blue carbon ecosystems, which aim to empower policymakers and organisations to harness carbon capturing habitats, including mangroves, seagrasses and salt marshes. And we are proud to be a partner in a £6 million fund from UKRI Industrial Decarbonisation Challenge, which was awarded to accelerate decarbonisation of UK industry. There's some truly transformative action happening across, particularly from our Centre for Conservation and Restoration Science. And on the right, we have our Timber Technology Engineering and Design team recently won the Green Skills Award at the inaugural Built Environment Smarter Transformation Accelerate to Zero Awards. And that was for the courses they have developed to upskill and reskill people from modern methods of timber construction, which of course will be more sustainable. So what about our reputation and reach? Well, in this academic year, we were the #1 modern university in Scotland, according to the Good University Guide, and a top 10 modern university across the UK. That's about across 75 universities. As June mentioned, we have remained #1 university in Edinburgh for overall student satisfaction, and we are #1 Scottish modern university for research, power and impact. But the one I want to pull out really is our, for the first time, move into the top 500 universities in the world as ranked by the Times Higher Education World Rankings. That was a tremendous success, a tremendous reward for staff to see that all the good work they've been doing is reflected in an international reach. Of course, highlight of every academic year are our graduations, and this year we graduated nearly 6,000 students worldwide. In the background there you may wonder, gosh, have we just purchased a pub? No, we haven't, but we did rebrand one of Scotland's old pubs in Edinburgh, the Shakespeare on Lothian Road, to celebrate what was our biggest ever graduation, and we rebranded it as the Napier Graduate, and as you can see from the photograph, it went down very well. Now to how we did on our finances during the year. Just to point out, this is pre-pension, and the figures exclude the Development Trust, our fundraising trust, and as I say, are prior to pension valuation adjustments. So if you look on the 22-23 budget, our budget was 155.6 million, and we were planning a surplus, an operating surplus of 7.8 million. In how we finished the year is we have our reporting an income of 166.1 million and an operating surplus of 8.6 million. So a very good outcome for the year. And during the year, we did pay off our final loans, and now we are debt-free, which allows us the flexibility and capability to invest in our infrastructure. Looking forward, I don't intend to go through this, but I thought putting up all these different things, the policy environment, we've had 5 major reports that affect higher education, the Scottish Government draft budget to be published in December, which we think will be quite challenging. The many amazing things that are happening around us in education, ChatGPT, the advent of large language models and artificial intelligence. We've had changes to our visa route. Good news that the UK has joined Horizon Europe, which is the research programme for UK universities and European countries. We have issues with cost of living. And I did want to flag that, you know, many of our young people are still carrying the impacts of the COVID restrictions and the COVID years. And so what that really highlights is this is a very turbulent environment for us. And I don't see that changing over the next, certainly not in the short term. But we're not going to be distracted from our strategy and from our vision. We've invested in staffing over the last year of nearly 100 new academics posts and 142 professional services staff. And a big thing for us is preparing for Project Vision. And Project Vision is our investment plan over the next 10 years for our estates and our infrastructure. And over our 3 campuses, we will be developing the infrastructure that we believe our staff, students, and our local communities need in the coming years. So more about that next year. That brings me to the end of my quick canter through an amazing year. I'd like to now hand over to run a short video on some of the exciting work that I mentioned we are doing in the world of cycling. And then one of our students, Ross Patterson, will host a panel session where we'll hear from some of our academic staff and our student president.
Mountain biking has had a very positive impact on the Tweed Valley's economy, and we have seen this growth happen over a number of years. The Mountain Bike Centre of Scotland opened its doors here in the Tweed Valley in 2014. We worked with our partners at Scottish Enterprise and Scottish Cycling to establish this centre, and so far we've helped over 250 businesses in Scotland, from startups to SMEs and also international businesses. The Mountain Bike Centre can assist businesses with market research, product development, knowledge transfer, testing and product launches. So we really do cover all the bases. The Tweed Valley, and in particular in Leithen, is also now the headquarters for the Enduro World Series, one of the world's premier mountain bike competitions. Founder and now managing director of the Enduro World Series is Chris Boyle, one of our own Edinburgh Napier graduates.
The Enduro World Series is one of the world's premier mountain biking competitions, taking place around the world in locations including Italy, France, America, Canada, Australia and Chile, but also here in Scotland. Our events attract entries from professional teams and athletes and thousands of amateurs around the world. We've received investment from Discovery Inc. and now work within their family including Play Sports Group and Eurosport, and we've got ambitious plans to develop across a variety of live and innovative platforms in the coming years. Our company, Enduro Sports Organisation, will soon have up to 30 people working for us here in Innerleithen and is one of the largest employers in the town. A lot of our employees are Edinburgh Napier University graduates, and I look forward to continued working and collaborating with Geraint and the entire Mountain Bike Centre of Scotland team in the coming years.
A high proportion of local businesses have grown up around the mountain biking in this town. It really has had a transformational effect. Now we're looking to the future and are hoping to open the world's first mountain bike innovation centre here at this historic mill through a partnership between South of Scotland Enterprise and Edinburgh Napier. This will add higher value jobs into the area and really create a cluster of businesses driven by enterprise and academic support. The project will also include a commercial bike park and trail lab. Scotland will also be hosting the UCI Cycling World Championships in 2023, with the first combined World Championships including road, track, mountain bike, BMX and Paris. There's a lot to look forward to with an estimated 1 billion eyes on Scotland.
Okay, that was fantastic. So in this section of the event, we are going to have a conversation with two of our academic staff, as well as the president of the student body. So we're just going to discuss some of the achievements of Edinburgh Napier University this year. So firstly, I would like to welcome Dr. Leslie Ingram-Sills, Lecturer in Sport, Exercise and Health in the School of Applied Sciences. Secondly, I'd like to welcome Professor Luca Mora, Professor of Urban Innovation in the School of Business. And finally, Gio Axel, who is the president of the student body. Thank you all for being here today. Okay, so firstly, I would like to ask all of you, in terms of your role as a researcher or a teacher or as the ENSA president, what is the most exciting or significant achievement that happened in the university over the past 1 year? So Luca, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I can say that one of the most exciting things happened quite recently because a couple of days ago we launched one of our latest studies. It's a UN playbook in which we provide a series of recommendations on how to manage digital transformation projects in cities. The playbook is a great achievement because obviously is a global study, so we were able to work with local governments from all over the world. It's probably one of the world's first studies that is looking at the smart city development perspective from a global perspective, and that puts Napier on the map because it's the second time in 2 years in which we are able to reach this type of level of excellence, and the result has been really amazing.
That is fantastic. So how many cities were involved in that?
In this study, including the previous one, together we had more than 250 municipalities that were involved in the study.
Is that right across the world?
Yes, worldwide. There was a great balance between the different regions, between the continents. We also had interviews with experts from 37 different countries from all over the world. So it's really a representation of what is happening in the world in relation to smart cities.
Wow, that's fantastic. What an amazing thing for the university to be involved in.
Absolutely.
Incredible research. And the same question to you, Leslie.
Yeah, I think so it's just the continued work from the Mountain Bike Centre of Scotland. I find it difficult, there's lots of different projects going on, to pick out one, so I'm going to give you a little snapshot of two. But I think one of the real drivers was when we were working with British Cycling and Scottish Cycling and a few other stakeholders to look at environmental stewardship with e-mountain biking. So having a look to see actually where do people want to go on these bikes? Do we need to educate? How do we work in those spaces to make sure that individuals, we know that they want to cycle further, we know they want to cycle faster, so how do we make sure everyone can enjoy that space and get the most out of it? Because from all the research we start to see in terms of nature, when you get out into that, it's really beneficial for both mental health and your well-being. And I think one of the other projects that links kind of straight into that is the trail therapy project. So led by one of my colleagues, Dr. Holly Fountain, looking at what influence it has when individuals have mental health issues, actually getting them out on a mountain bike programme, and how you can use that as a different space from a clinical environment in order to be able to help them to progress and rehabilitate in those spaces.
Wow, so it sounds as if we're kind of helping people to, I suppose, access nature and also heal in nature in a way as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think nature's super cool, and there's so many nice things that happen in that space. So if we can be physically active in it, we know it's a good thing, but just being there and interacting with that space is really beneficial to individuals. And I think getting out of clinical settings sometimes when you have mental health issues and going into a completely different environment, it just really enables those individuals to process some things slightly differently. So if you're anxious, maybe trying a new skill in a safe space is quite a nice way to start to work through some of the coping mechanisms that you might need in order to be able to help you develop further.
Oh, that's fantastic. Giving people access to nature, as you say, it is just fantastic out there. So
yeah, absolutely.
That's a great thing for the university to be working on. That's great. And Gio, yourself, what do you think is the biggest achievement of the university in this year?
I think, as Edinburgh Napier, we are a very global institution, and EDI is a big thing. I cannot speak of the president as a year, but it's only been 5 months since I became the president.
Sure.
But how Leslie was saying, nature is cool. So are our professors. And that's what makes this university lively and creative every day. Sustainability is a big focus which we have started this year. Moving towards net zero by 2030, the university has got major focuses invested on sustainability. We have started a year-long campaign, and students are heavily involved with it. The push for that is very high. Recently, we celebrated Diwali. It is just not a religious festival. This is how we bring cultures together. We become global citizens here. And if you look at my story, it's transformation that has happened. I came into this country last year. Here I am with a global in a global setup, taking part in different things. So this is Napier.
Yeah, it looked like your Diwali party was quite a lot of fun.
It was lit. It's just not Diwali party. It's all parties that happen at Napier.
True, yeah. Yeah, no, I saw a lot of music and dancing. It looked like a great time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Gio. Appreciate that. Okay, so my second question for the panel today is how do you feel that we stand apart from other institutions? So, in other words, what do you think makes Edinburgh Napier University unique?
Well, there are many different factors in my opinion, but if I think about my personal experience since when I started in 2017, so my career progression in 6 years, and what really made it work properly is part what my colleagues were saying, because there is a lot of capability to be inclusive at Napier. There is a lot of collaboration, there is a lot of diversity, and all these things are not very easy to find in other universities. It's not so common. And this leads to a mentality that is very open when we talk about, for example, interdisciplinarity. So we set up, for example, a new center that is looking at the connection between innovation and urban environments. It's not very typical for business schools, but for Napier it came natural. And from that, we achieve excellence. So this level of openness is really something remarkable. And being part of the university over the years, to me, has been like being in a family.
That's fantastic. It's like a community in Napier.
A lot. There is a lot of peer-to-peer support. You really feel supported by your colleagues. In the team setting, we really perform as a group. There is a lot of cohesion. It's really something that is remarkable, in my opinion.
Thank you, Luca. Leslie?
Yeah, I think I would just echo what everyone else has said. I think the people that are around the table at Napier are really quite special. I think also we've got really good links with things like business, with industry. It's really nice to be able to bring those things into your teaching. So to be able to do research and bring that into your teaching, but also bring in industry partners so that students can see actually exit strategies from university as well, not just what's happening in the classroom, but also to give them upskilling and, hopefully working on things like their employability skills while they're at university, so that they can really develop as they move forward. But I think the soul of it is the people that are working at the university.
Amazing. Again, community,
Yeah.
great community here at Napier. And yourself, Gio?
Oh wow, this is the top modern university in Scotland, and this is for a reason, because it pays so much attention to student voice. Here you can look at the panel today. I'm a student, at least a former student who has recently graduated. So the student voice, which is taken into account in this university, is making a major impact, and we see results happening very, very soon. So unlike the conventional way of most universities functioning, this university takes up actions very quick, and student voice is very well attended, and that's what makes it very special and different.
Fantastic, yeah. Yeah, amazing. Okay, my final question for the three of you is, what is the biggest difference that you hope to make during your time at the university, so you personally?
Well, probably there are two. One for sure is to continue with the research side, so being able to still connect with international players that are working in the field of smart cities, which is our main area of research, making sure that they can be connected with the university, that again, teaching can benefit from what we do in terms of research, and that we can continue to provide research that is really applied, that is looking into real life situations and challenges so that we can fix problems. That's probably one of the priorities. And the second one that I really feel a lot is the fact of helping the community of researchers within the university to perform better and better, especially when we talk about early academics. There is a lot of mentorship and support that is going on across the schools, and I think that that is a key area in which I personally would like to impact as much as possible.
Look, I may ask how the smart cities, how they improve the kind of standard of living for people?
In different ways. I mean, technologies do have a lot of potential in terms of improving urban sustainability from different point of views. It can be your well-being or the external environment, specific services like education, transport. There are many different ways of applying these technologies. The real challenge now is not really the technological development, which is going really fast. We have a lot of emerging technologies, but it's how you can embed them in the sociocultural and economic environment of the city in which we have society and the environment. That is not easy because, unfortunately, what we have seen over the years, especially with these two recent studies with the United Nations, cities, especially local governments, are struggling because there are investments to be made in policies, regulations, laws, new generations of policy, regulation, and laws and standards, and also collaborative models and cultural change. And these are things that are not technological. They are technology related, but they're not technological. And it requires a lot of effort. These are transitions that really take a lot of time.
Thank you very much, Luca.
A pleasure.
Leslie, what about you?
I like that you're asking us nice, easy questions for a Monday. It doesn't feel that way. I think just to continue, the development of the Mountain Bike Centre of Scotland and the new innovation hub that's going to be based down in Innerleithen. So that's been led by Prof. Geraint Florida James, and the projects that we're working on are, there's lots of different things happening within that space, and I think continuing to build those relationships with industry, within communities, so that we can really use mountain biking or cycling as a way to keep people healthier and happier, hopefully, for longer, but also look at ways in which we can help industry to understand a little bit more about the person or the individual that is sitting on top of the bike, because sometimes they're a little bit forgotten in that process.
Thank you, Leslie. That's so interesting. And Gio, as a INSA president, what do you hope to achieve while you're at Napier?
It's a long journey. It has started now, but hoping to see things change. When I say change, we are transforming the world through the people that we create from here. So the thoughts are very global, and we are transforming things. Personally, if you want to ask me, alongside academia, the people should learn to have fun, and also we are making people with values, humans with real values, compassion, passion, those driving forces That is important. And that is what ENSA does. The fun bit, which would bring values to society and transform the world. That is, I see that happening, so I don't have to achieve it. It is happening all the time at Napier.
Sure. I suppose you only have 1 year, don't you?
Yes, yes.
Urgency.
Urgency.
Yeah.
It's always there. The world needs peace immediately. We need compassionate humans immediately. That's what is important.
So, Leslie, thank you so much for speaking to us today about all the amazing research that's been done around mountain biking. So thank you very much for being here.
You're welcome.
Luca, thank you also for being here so much. The smart cities and the work that Napier's doing with the United Nations is so exciting. So thank you again for sharing everything.
Thank you. Thank you.
And Gio, thank you very much for being here as well and talking about some of the challenges of being the ENSA president.
It's good fun, though.
Next, we are going to talk about the automated buses that are running in Edinburgh.
The CAF project is about autonomous buses. The first stage of the project was to build a small fleet of 5 full-size buses. They are what we call level 4 automation level, which means that they are able to drive by themselves, but in a well-defined environment. And they are currently used to provide a commercial service between the outskirts of the city of Edinburgh and Fife, which is the region north of the city. Our role is to study people, user acceptance, user behavior. So we surveyed people before the launch of the service and after the service was launched to measure the trust, to measure the behavior. We saw that there are differences between people living in urban areas and people living in rural areas, because people living in urban areas, they want to be reassured as to the driving capacities of the buses, and instead people living in more rural contexts, they are more prone to use these services if they are convinced about the benefits that the service can bring to the users and to the society. Very often, when I spoke with my colleagues around the world about what the project has been able to achieve, they are surprised, because level 4 is really an advanced stage of technology. Mobility is not just technology, it's a socio-technological system. So we need to get to know better and better what people needs, what people want, and why they think in a certain way, right? So that we can offer more opportunities, safer opportunities, more environmental friendly opportunity. Innovation is something that offers new opportunities, that creates a better life for everybody, not just for individuals, but also for society and also for the environment.
Some more fascinating real-world impact from Edinburgh Napier University. If you have any other questions about any research that's happening at Napier or anything that was in Andrea's speech, then please send them into the live Q&A, which we're going to get started with now. I'm joined today by some of the university leadership team, the principal, Andrea. I'm also joined by Andy McGough, the Director of Finance and Operations. To my left here is Naomi Graham, the Vice Principal for International, whose responsibilities include student recruitment and external relations, and Caroline Begbie as well, the Director of People and Services. So Caroline is looking after the people of Edinburgh Napier University. So if we just get straight into the Q&A, we have the first question, and it's towards you, Andrea. So what is the biggest challenge you see in the next year ahead for Napier?
Well, I think there isn't one challenge. So when there's one challenge you can concentrate on, there are lots of things changing about us. The students, we still have the impact of COVID on their mental health. We have funding, the state of cost of living crisis, inflation. We have geopolitical tensions. So it's a turbulent environment. So I feel our role as leaders of the university is to keep the staff and students motivated, engaged, and support them to do what we do really well.
There's a question for you, Naomi. And given the current global turmoil, how reliant is the university on international students, and how might you grow that number?
Well, international students are hugely important to the university. So we have around 4,000 international students on campus in Edinburgh and around 6,000 students studying our transnational education and global online programmes. So about 43% international. And our students bring huge value to the university and the vibrancy in terms of our campus. So around 30% of our budgeted income is from international sources, our on-campus international student tuition fees, and our transnational education and global online. But we're really working, very hard to ensure that we're diversifying our sources of income. We're placing a lot of emphasis on growing our transnational education as well, and there's lots of really exciting opportunities at the moment for the university.
And Caroline, I suppose the same question to you as well. We have a separate question for you, Caroline. I hear a lot about poor mental well-being among students. Is this an issue at Edinburgh Napier, and what is the university currently doing about it?
Yeah, so I think the first answer is yes, it's an issue. And as Andrea said, we've seen an increase in poor mental health in both our staff and students since COVID, and we're still really doing a lot to try and support our students in that. And actually it's continuing. I think external factors are really contributing to poorer student mental health. So we have a mental health and inclusion service which provides support, counselling, safeguarding for our students. And we've seen over the last couple of years that the numbers coming into that service have gradually increased, in fact increased quite significantly in the last year. So it is an absolute priority for us in the university to make sure that we're looking after both our students and our staff mental health. And we have a number of different interventions in place for students through the counselling service and for staff through mental health champions, and ensuring that all of our leaders and managers are equipped to deal with really difficult conversations sometimes about mental health.
Andy, the next question is for you. How does the cost of living crisis affect students at Edinburgh Napier?
Yeah, well, cost of living is an issue not just for students but for society in general. We've taken a few steps in the university. So over the last year, we gave out free breakfasts to students to support them, to make sure they came into a hot meal in the morning, and I think that was very successful. Other measures are, we're working closely with the Scottish Parliament on this bit on student accommodation. So we price ourselves below the average in Edinburgh. So I think we've got a very good offering, but we price it below the sector average to try and support our students in that. Plus, we're working with the council as well on things like transport costs. We're aware that students travel sometimes at reasonably long distances. So we're trying to work with the Scottish Parliament on subsidised travel. You'll know that under 22-year-olds get, generally for a student, you get free public transport, but if you're above 22, you don't. And actually a greater proportion of our audience is more mature now. So we're trying to influence policy to support cost of living challenges as well. Yeah.
I made the most of that free breakfast that was out there. It was fantastic.
Yeah, and actually over the next 12 months we've introduced healthier eating options. We're aware that a sausage roll isn't necessarily the most healthiest option in the morning, so it's now more affordable options like oats, cereals and such like as well, to try and get that balance between health and getting fed.
Sure. And how is it affecting the university as a whole?
Cost of living crisis. Yeah, well, it is a real challenge. So we've got pay and we've got non-pay. So our non-pay costs, it's not comes as a surprise to say that our energy costs, or cost of heating the buildings, electricity bills, have gone up hugely over the last 12, 18 months, much like your own home bills as well. Pay settlements as well, with inflation, pay settlements have been higher as well, not just in the university sector but across all sectors. And one of our challenges is, we're trying to contain our price rises, what we charge students, what we charge for courses, etc. So we're trying to get that balance between absorbing cost increases, but try not to pass all that on to either our students or other customers as well. And bearing in mind that what we get for Scottish students is fixed as well, so we've got to absorb any cost increases into that as well.
Thanks, Andrea. Yeah. Andrea, the next question is for you. How does the university plan on building on its good research results? Does it want to become a research-intensive university?
Well, as you probably know, Ross, we did extremely well in the last big UK-wide assessment of all the university research, and we made huge strides in that. And we're just carrying on to motivate staff, to support them. So we introduced a new early career academic framework. So staff who come in early on, when they have to start teaching and they have to do their teaching qualification and establish their research, it's quite intense. So we've put in place a really supportive programme for them for the first 2 years. We continue to encourage people to do scholarly work. And it's about delivering research with impact, which is what we are really about. But it's also, we all want people we know to be educated in an environment where people are curious. And that's what research is about. It's being curious about your discipline, whatever it is you're teaching in. So definitely, I mean, the concepts, the words people use like research-informed, research-intensive research are kind of meaningless to me. To me, I want everybody to be curious about advancing their discipline, be it in practice, how to care for people with mental health issues in a different way, but just to be curious about your discipline and make a difference to people's lives.
Amazing. There's a follow-up question for you, Andrea, as well. And how is the university handling artificial intelligence and the advent of AI?
Well, I think we took a really pragmatic and also future-looking approach. So ChatGPT is here to, artificial intelligence is not going away. So rather than saying, gosh, students, you shouldn't be using it or you should be doing this, we embraced it. So we haven't got the answers yet, but we're working with our students. We have a project, a research project with our academic colleagues and our students, which is called ChatGPT and Me. And there we're providing guidance to students. When you use it, reference us, tell us how you've used it. You might use it to structure an answer to something. So we're learning as we go along, but for us, we're embracing it because it is the future, really.
Mm-hmm. And is that, does that apply to your roles as well? Is artificial intelligence affecting everything? Yeah.
I think it is, yeah. I think it affects all of us. So a part of the area which I'm responsible for includes the IS team. And we're working with that team, Claire Taylor, who leads that team, on how we can employ AI across our daily operations to make our lives easier, more efficient, better student experience, service, etc. So we're looking to incorporate that into what we do. We're partnering with a couple of corporates as well, who are experts in that field, to partner with us and identify the best technology and how we can use it the most effectively as well. And we'll read a chat the other day, Caroline, as well, on how we can roll it out across people and services area as well as the finance area as well.
Yeah, I would say, just to add to that, the key thing is encouraging people to embrace it. It's not going away. It is going to change the way we do things. Hopefully it's not going to take away everyone's jobs in the future. I know that we've seen a lot of that. But it's about how we embrace it and how we make sure we're ready for it.
Okay. So this is another question for Andrea, but also for the whole panel as well. And it's our final question today. So the university has laudable sustainability targets. Are you on track to meet those?
Yes, we are on track. We're ahead of track. I think I mentioned we have committed to being net zero by 2030. I suppose, if I'm honest, we've done the things that are easier to do. So we've made really great strides over the last 7-8 years. The things that Andy is grappling with are how do we translate, how do we make big gains in, for example, heating the buildings, because we're currently heating with gas. So we have a lot left to do. But the thing that's so encouraging for me is that the support from staff and students is phenomenal. You know, they are driving us and making sure they're holding us to account. We want our institution to be sustainable.
I think there's almost like two parallel activities. So one is you've got the big transformational projects. I mean, can you move from gas to alternative sources? But on a regular basis, we're improving the management of what we've got just now. So we've got a building management system. We're putting in better technology so we can control the heat in individual rooms, in individual areas as best we can to get the best efficiencies. And even small things like when we refurbish a room, we'll put in better insulation, we'll put in better, better windows or whatever, just to make these small incremental improvements. And our stats, our CO2 output has come down, year on year over the last few years. So I think it's big projects, but every day they can make a difference.
Sure. Now, how might sustainability impact international students?
Yeah, well, I think there is, in some respects, a tension between internationalisation and sustainability, but there's also a lot of opportunities as well. So actually next week we're hosting an event as part of the British Council Going Global conference where we're bringing together some leaders from universities around the world to come to Edinburgh Napier to talk about internationalisation and sustainability and the opportunities there. So I think there'll be lots of opportunities there to share best practice and ideas between us. So that's something we're really looking forward to.
Great. Thank you, Caroline.
So it's one of our top priorities for the university. So it's embedded into people's objectives. People are measured against it, and we're all held to account for delivering against it. So that's what better way to measure it, and it's something that we talk about constantly as a university leadership team, so it's there.
Perfect, thank you, Caroline. Okay, well, that's all we have time for, guys. Thank you all very much for being here. Andrea, I believe you have a few words to leave us on, so I'll let you head over there. So in the meantime, Caroline, thank you very, very much for joining us today. It was great to hear from you. Naomi, the same to you. It was great to speak to you today, and thank you for answering the questions. And finally, Andy, thank you also to you for joining us today and sharing your answers. Okay. Andrea, over to you.
Well, Ross, thank you so much for the work you've done in chairing our panel discussions, done most professionally. And for those of you, Ross is a third-year journalism student. I also want to thank all the other students and staff who have made today possible. It takes a significant group of people to actually deliver this event. I hope for those of you who've stayed with us that you've learned more about the university, about who we are, the people, our students and our staff. And I look forward to seeing you again at some time in the future. Thank you.